And welcome back here to Open. Daren Jaime here with you. Well, Rethink Food NYC is a not-for-profit organization that is actually utilizing food waste from restaurants, grocery stores, and corporate kitchens to create new and nutritious meals for those who actually are in need. Rethink has also set up emergency food response, setting up to assist people with food needs and access during the times of crisis. And joining us now to talk a little bit more about Rethink is CEO and co-founder of Rethink Food, Matt Jozwiak, and we thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. How you doing?
Doing well, bro. Doing wonderful and great, and really, you're doing some great work in filling and bridging the gap. I think I remember my mom always talking about don't leave any food out there, but the reality is you take food that is gone unused, and you take it and you turn it around and use it to be a blessing to New York City residents.
That's right. Yeah, we spent a lot of time trying to get that done with getting restaurants because there's so much excess food at the end of the night. When the new products come in, they just don't have space for the old products, so they get rid of them. It's been a long time, but now we just have restaurants kind of doing the work for us, and it's made everything a lot easier.
So walk us through exactly what happened. So, it's the end of the night, the end of the shift, and then all of a sudden the restaurants are about to close up, but they have some unused food. Walk us through what happens.
Well, yeah, it's that like in the legacy model pre-COVID, that's kind of where we were. But like it's a little, people kind of think it's like leftovers or stuff like that, but it's really not. There's a certain amount of inventory the restaurant has to have in-house to make sure that they can feed the amount of people that are coming in the door. So they always prepare for like 150 people to come in, and then like sometimes 80 people come in, sometimes whatever. So they take that and they just box it up really nicely for us, and then we pick it up. But it's some of the most beautiful food I've ever seen because it's restaurant quality ingredients where there's new stuff coming in there. So you get beautiful asparagus, spinach, herbs, like fresh produce, never been touched. And you get some of like the best chefs in the city making sauces for you, right? So like sorrel spinach puree, potato puree, like all these great sauces, tomato sauce and all this stuff. And then they just give it to us, and then we're able to kind of put it together in a beautiful way and cater community organizations around the city. But since COVID, there's no restaurants. So
Right.
restaurants weren't open, so we couldn't do that. So now we've just been asking restaurants to make food for their communities. And they've been so inspired and so into it that they want to keep doing it post-COVID and forever, which we are really excited about.
Yeah. It's a wonderful partnership that you're actually able to create that with restaurants. How hard was it to get restaurant buy-in?
Well, it wasn't that hard because we were some of the only people buying food from restaurants. So when we told restaurants we were going to help you stay afloat for 12 weeks, pay about $4,000 a week, they were super excited um, to get on board. So no, they were great. Restaurants were really collaborative, and it's been just a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Not only have you provided food for the community, you've also been instrumental in providing food for Black Lives Matter protesters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was just like, especially in the Bronx, like we were just like, um, we're pretty simple over here. There's not a lot of, myself, I don't like a lot. I was just like, there's people out there that don't have masks, and, there's no place to get food around here. Like, where are people eating? Where are they getting a bottle of water? So we just went with the truck and handed out bottled waters, a meal, a mask, and like, just so people could stay safe and they could get a refreshment while they were, doing what they do.
Yeah. Well, we're in the process of phasing up here in New York City. So talk to us about how do you see things playing out for yourself going forward in the future now that we're starting to phase up?
I think that the restaurants are going to produce less food, but like community restaurants, like there's a lot of like especially like La Mirada in the Bronx is a great example for us. Like they can do a lot with that extra revenue. So like it coming into their business. So we just want to keep getting money and business into those restaurants, so they can keep feeding their community. We found this a lot in East New York. A lot of the restaurants we worked with in East New York had been catering community centers for years, but just not getting paid for it. So like what we used to do before at Rethink was cater community centers, but they've been doing it for the last 5, 6 years. Whether it's in like a Sunday after mass kind of brunch style or whatever it is. So now we're just gonna instead of doing it all ourselves, we're just going to pay them to do it, keep the money, get the jobs going, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to use philanthropy to spread equity.
And speaking of philanthropy, I know that you gave about $40,000 for people to stay open to help feed people who are in need.
Yeah, well, actually, we went a lot higher than that because we realized they needed more. So, like some of them, like in collective fare, up around $100,000. Like we wanted to get money into these communities, these people who are just doing the right thing. So it's been just the most exciting. It's been the exciting time of my life for sure.
Yeah. And with all that's been going on, I mean, obviously the future of the food industry is certainly in question. We're going to be eating, but for the timing, it's going to be a little bit different. So give us your take.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think it's ever going to be the way it was. I don't think that's a possibility. And I think that restaurants, at least for me, I started as a dishwasher in Kansas and kind of worked my way up. Restaurants are community centers. It's where you meet your family. They have events there. If you want to go work there, you can learn a skill. A lot of people learn a language there. They're really wonderful places that have done a lot for the community. And what we're trying to do is treat them that way. Treat them with the respect, restaurants with the respect that they deserve by using these government sources, the corporate sources, the philanthropy sources, are all trying to pay people to do job training programs, language skills, community building, nutritious food, which is everything a restaurant does. So we're just trying to use those same sources of revenue and put them directly into restaurants because we feel like they're a great vehicle for success.
Yeah. And so for people who want to get connected, what exactly do they do?
You can follow us on Instagram. That's where our most current news is at rethinkfood.nyc, or go to rethinkfood.nyc to just visit and see what we're up to.
That's great. And Matt, certainly, I mean, you're helping people out all across the board. I think that, in a time like this, we need a lot of people who are volunteering and have boots on the ground to make a difference. And you're certainly making a difference. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah. And before we leave, is there anything else you want people to know?
Stay positive, stay happy. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you so much, Matt Jozwiak, our guest here on Open. Thanking him for joining us and the work that Rethink is doing in helping out to be a blessing to so many people across New York City who really stand in need, especially during times like this. And for restaurants who are challenged, for them to continue to open their doors and continue to be a help to our New York City residents is a great thing. Matt, thanks again.